Brooklyn Independent Television.
New York City is definitely in the midst of a cycling cycle. Just look at the dozens of new bike paths, as well as the next summer's huge new bike share program coming to Manhattan and Brooklyn. All of this means it's a pretty good time to run a bike shop. But just a few blocks from here, we found one where the customers can do a lot more than just buy a bicycle.
The way I see bikes, it's 110, 120-year-old technology, and we're kind of the people that work on it. We're not the guardians of it. We're not the gods of it. So you can teach people and develop long-term relationships, and that's what we've done in the last 3 years. My name is Joe Nocella. I'm the owner of 718 Cyclery. We're in Gowanus, Brooklyn. I started in my backyard 3 years ago building bikes and moved up to a smaller shop, and now we moved into a bigger shop. The shop is set up to be collaborative in nature, to be open, to be accessible, and it's a place where I always like to think that arrogance and attitude really doesn't have a place here. I started in a backyard. Essentially, I built a bike for myself. My first bike, I'd made so many mistakes that I'd bought so many extra pieces that I had enough for a second bike. And a neighbor, hey, do you sell those? And oh, sure, I guess. And that was the start of the business. I'm a busy guy. I have a day job. I'm a licensed architect in New York. I work at a firm in Manhattan. Most architects have that kind of backstory where it's like left brain, right brain, science and technology versus art and design. And I think that at the time, what I was going through in the architecture profession was that I was experiencing both those things, but the projects were just taking too long. And I think what happened was that working on bikes was something that I could capture those things that I really loved about architecture, but in a 2-hour chunk or a 1-hour chunk, and I could see the results riding around right away. As opposed to coming into a bike shop and talking to a salesman and saying, I want this bike or that bike, and that salesman will look up on the wall and kind of shoehorn you into one of these pre-built scenarios up there. The way we go about it, I always think of this as like the inverted bike shop, where someone's going to come in and we're going to discuss what it is they're looking for, and we're going to build up a bike around what they're looking for. People will come in with, I want to ride to Montauk every week, and then I want to do jumps in Prospect Park, and then I want to, get groceries on a Sunday. What does that bike look like? I think people get this appreciation of seeing this entire bike kind of in pieces on a workbench and see it come together, and you ride off on the bike that you actually just built up. So many people ride bikes, and the disproportionate amount of information they actually know about their bikes. I think there's not anything else like it. Maybe electronics, where we all have iPhones and whatever, but we don't know how they actually work. Bikes are the same way. We get so many people that have come in and kind of ashamedly say, I've never learned how to change a flat tire. And so we have free classes that deal with that.
So that weak spot eventually will get worse and get worse, and will actually affect the rest of the wheel. Anything that happens with the wheel is going to affect something conversely.
My name is Pablo Iraldi. I'm the service manager here at 718 Cyclery. I teach on Thursdays the free classes. Aside from that, I'm a general mechanic, just like the rest of them here. I think the collaborative nature of the builds that we do here at 718 Cyclery, it's really something that should be done a lot more often, but it really never is, and you don't understand why. It's this weird stigma with a lot of shops. They don't want to involve the person, whereas opposed to here, it's more of a personalized thing. We actually want to kind of put that bug in you. It's like, we want you to get excited about your bicycle that you're building. Cycling as a whole just means so much and can mean so much if you get somebody into it the right way. You build the bike with them, it's going to be something that they're going to want to know more and more about and get further and further into, and that's when you really start building the culture of cycling rather than just the business of cycling.
Some shops are, the focus is different. Maybe it's more on a retail focus, or it's more of a bike selling focus. And for us, our focus has always been on the work that we do in our hands. We don't, that's the part of us that's not replaceable. I mean, anyone can buy things online and anyone can order a bike from here and there, but it's our hands that are the most important piece of this. When you work with your hands, no one can ever take that away. You can't hammer a nail over the internet. I mean, you can't. You can't be a butcher over the internet. You can't be a baker. You can't be a seamstress or a mechanic or a bike mechanic or a blacksmith. And people that do work with their hands, in the end, have the most control over their destiny because, again, no one can ever take that away.
Become a fan on Facebook, like Brooklyn Independent Television.